Welcome to the podcast. I'm Ben.
I'm Mae.
And I'm Max, and we were had.
Can you believe it?
There are twists and there are turns.
Defleshed is a standard death.
Oh, that's fun.
We were had.
We were.
We're back.
We're back,
yeah,
baby.
all together. No COVID, baby.
Well, we don't know about that, but no symptoms.
Yeah, no symptoms, baby.
Yeah.
Good to be together. I think that's what's important, and I can't wait for dinner after this. Today's episode, we are talking about one of the most reputable one of the most reputable alien incidents of all time in history.
Reputable meaning
like people point to this and be like, aliens, bro. They're real. Look at this one.
Don't they do that with every case or no?
Yeah, but this one they really love pointing to.
Okay.
They go, it's like when every episode when we're like, oh, this one's a real mystery.
Yeah.
This one's a real alien incident.
Right.
So this one it's 1994. 60 children at Ariel school in Ruwa, Zimbabwe said they'd seen a UFO and, quote, aliens with big eyes in the bushland near their school playground.
How old
60.
are these kids?
These are children. Well, it's like a range. I would say it was probably like an elementary school. I don't know how schooling works at Ariel, but it's a private school, so you have to trust that it's probably kindergarten through 12. Could be any age of children.
K-12.
There were a mix of older kids and younger. But anyway, the story was reported around the world. A BBC crew were among the first on the scene and spoke to pupils and teachers. There were also reports of strange lights and a, quote, craft in the sky in other parts of Zimbabwe, as well as in Zambia and South Africa.
Okay.
This is a hot one.
Yeah,
60.
this is fun.
60.
It's a lot of
over
people.
60 children. Not all of them interacted with the aliens, but some did.
Okay.
You ready?
They get plugged in the butt or what happened?
They did, yeah. These children got anally probed by aliens.
I assume that's all aliens do, right?
That's aliens. They come down here, they stick a couple fingers up your ass,
Yeah.
and they leave.
Yeah.
Oh, you're picturing fingers.
What do you think they were
I
using?
was thinking probes.
Like a device.
A
Yeah,
device,
yeah.
and then they leave it in your ass, and then you go to the hospital, and it's like, what? How do you explain this? And they're like, yeah, this lady's up to something.
Oh, aliens did it.
Oh,
Yeah. That's how the butane canister got up your
yeah.
ass.
Exactly.
That's a
Then
true
I listen to
story
a
from one of my friends
podcast
of mine.
about it, and then I say, huh.
What was the true story?
And my friend, she's an ER nurse, and she said somebody came in with a butane canister up their ass.
What's butane?
Butane's like a flammable like liquid.
That's big.
For like light and yeah, it was a very big. And she was like, "Why did you do this?" And, and he was like, "My wife wasn't home." And I was like, "What?
What?
Yeah."
Huh.
Why didn't he do something with anything else?
You got to think when you get to the butane, you've already tried everything else.
That's true.
And it wasn't the right
Hamsters,
fit.
gerbils, all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
It was Richard Gere.
Marriage
Okay.
is weird.
So,
Yeah.
huh?
Marriage is weird.
Back to, let's get a little background here. So Ruwa, where this happened, is a small agricultural center located 22 kilometers southeast of the capital of Zimbabwe, Harare.
Okay.
Ariel School was an expensive private school. Most of the pupils were from wealthy white families in Harare. I pronounced that two very different ways. 2 days prior to the incident at Ariel, there had been a number of UFO sightings throughout southern Africa. There had been numerous reports of a bright fireball passing through the sky at night. Many people answered ZBC radio's request to call in to describe what they had seen. Although some witnesses interpreted the fireball as a comet or meteor, it resulted in a wave of UFO mania in Zimbabwe at the time. According to a skeptic, Brian Dunning, the fireball, quote, had been the reentry of the Zenit 2 rocket from the Cosmos 2290 satellite launch. The booster broke up into burning streaks as it moved silently across the sky, giving an impressive light show to
Wait,
millions
so
of
they're saying
Africans.
that it was like an aircraft that went up and is now coming back down? That's their explanation?
That's what Dunning's explanation
I see.
is. He was like, it wasn't a comet or anything. It was just the broken part of this fucking thing. Local
Okay.
UFO researcher Cynthia Hind recorded other alien sightings at this time, including a daylight sighting by a young boy and his mother, and a report of aliens being on a road by a trucker.
So wait,
What'd
now
they
we're
look
going
like?
to the other side? Now we're going to the people that are pro-alien?
That was pro-alien. So Cynthia Hind, pro-alien. Brian Dunning. Cynthia Hind, you'll hear from her because she talks to all the kids. Like, she's one of the first people to talk to the kids about
Okay.
it.
And the guy with the
She sees
perfectly
them-
reasonable explanation, what was his name?
Dunning.
Dunning,
Got
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Dunning, he'll be back at the end of the
Right.
story because you're not going to believe this. He was a skeptic about this story as well.
Right.
But
So
this
the
was
lady
just-
trying to cash in on this little
yes,
scam.
cashing in
Yep.
on this
these
rural
children.
children's. Yeah, the fortune that they found here. Anyway, that's the background. There were people at the couple days leading up to this. There were some sightings of things.
Okay.
You ready for the incident?
Please.
Yes.
Are you going to be smug about it?
Definitely. He's obviously going to be smug about it.
I'm on board with Dunham.
I can already feel you being smug about it.
No, 60 is a lot of people. That's
60s
more than
And can I just
usual,
say,
feel like.
it's tough to argue with, and there are some arguments against it. I will present it all. I'm presenting everything. But this is over 60 kids with pretty similar accounts in broad daylight.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'll talk about all the aftermath and all that kind of stuff in the kids today. The sightings at Ariel occurred at 10 a.m. on September 16th, 1994, when pupils were outside on mid-morning break. The adult faculty at the school were inside having a meeting at the time. The entire incident lasted about 15 minutes. When the children returned to class, they told the teachers what they had seen but were dismissed. When they returned home, they told their parents. Many of those parents came to the school the next day to discuss what had happened with the faculty. The sighting was reported on ZBC Radio, you're familiar, from where Cynthia Hind learned about it. Hind visited the school the next day. She interviewed the children and asked them to draw pictures of what they had seen. The pictures are presented as pretty good evidence because they're pretty good pictures, but they literally just look like a drawing of aliens outside of the saucer.
Yeah.
But
wait, question
That would
about
be more
Hind?
convincing
Yeah.
if they were totally different than the pictures that you see on in movies or whatever. But anyway.
So who is this Hind? Because she comes in like immediately. it
Yes,
sounds
she
like.
is one of the first responders. She's like a local UFO person who heard it on the radio, and she came to talk to the children.
That's what I'm saying. I think she sees an opportunity to sell a book or do something like that, and that's why she's in there.
I mean, if she's a local UFO person in Zimbabwe, she probably doesn't get like many opportunities. Like I think UFO
Right.
people in general probably get really
Yes,
excited.
but she's a researcher, so it's different.
As
so
a hobby or like as her...
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It's like being an expert on any of the bullshit that we talk about.
Yeah.
So you
okay.
don't think it's her job?
What's a job?
Yeah.
Is this our job?
Man,
I'd
that's
like
fair.
it to be.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We just have a breakdown. The fuck are we doing?
That's fair.
So she reported that she reported that the children all told her the same story. The BBC's correspondent in Zimbabwe, Tim Leach, visited the school on September 19th to film interviews with pupils, staff, and Hind. After investigating this incident, Leach claimed, "I could handle war zones, but I could not handle this." That's a direct quote.
Why
do
is
you
she
keep
in
calling it
war zones?
pupils?
Huh?
Why do you keep saying pupils?
As opposed to?
Students?
I don't know. I'm just reading off of this. Do you think I
I
wrote
thought
this?
that's just like a thing you do.
I'm a pupil boy. If it's a private school, it's a pupil. It's no longer a student.
The headmaster.
That's what they call him. They have a headmaster. Yeah.
All right.
It's a private school. It's Ariel. Okay. So that November, which is the following month, Harvard University professor of psychiatry John Mack visited the Ariel school to interview witnesses. Throughout the 90s, Mack had investigated UFO sightings and had a particular interest in the alien abduction phenomenon, and he's a professor of psychiatry.
Okay.
I'm not using that against him. I'm just saying that there were some people that tried to oust him from the university, but they always said no matter what, throughout all of this, including after this, they were like, listen, he's free to do whatever he wants outside of it. He's a great teacher.
What are they trying to oust him for?
People were like, he's a loony. He's always a UFO guy. He's a UFO guy.
Oh, you mean the people at Harvard were like,
Some of the people at Harvard tried to oust him.
Oh,
Like
okay.
leading up to this, before this even happened.
I see. Okay.
Got it.
Anyway, in May 1994, the dean of Harvard Medical School, he was a medical professor because it was psychiatry. In May 1994, the dean of Harvard Medical School, Daniel C. Tustison, appointed a committee of peers to confidentially review Max. I knew that's what you called it. Confidentially review Max's clinical care and clinical investigation of the people who had shared their alien encounters with him. Some of their cases were written of in Max's 1994 book, Abduction. Great book title. The issue was that Mack had communicated to these people that their experience may have been real. So it was like an issue.
So what was her experience specifically?
Can I tell you?
I would love that. Yeah.
Why am I being attacked? With a very reasonable question that I should have answered.
Is this book Abduction like an account of this whole thing?
It was one of the things that he covered in his book.
Cool.
After 14 months, Harvard issued a statement stating that the dean had reaffirmed Dr. Mack's academic freedom to study what he wishes and to state his opinions without impediment, concluding Dr. Mack remains a member in good standing of the Harvard Faculty of Medicine. Low bar for the Harvard school, huh? According to the interviews of Hind, Leach, and Mack, 62 children between the ages of 6 and 12, we know the exact ages, claimed to have seen at least one UFO. Not all of the children at the school claimed a sighting. The basic details of the sightings were quite consistent, although not all the details were. One or more silver objects, usually described as discs, appeared in the sky. They then floated down to a field of brush and small trees just outside school property. Betwixt 1 and 4 creatures with big eyes, quote, the size of rugby balls.
That's so
and-
British.
It's all so British.
Yeah.
Pupils, rugby balls,
And
headmasters.
dressed all in black. These aliens were dressed all in black.
Dressed in black.
Exited
That's
a
a new
craft.
thing.
Also, I don't know if it says it here, but one of the articles I read said that some of the kids were like, they looked oddly like Michael Jackson.
Nah.
That's
For
not a
real?
Bit. That's not a bit. They
Are you
actually said
serious?
that. Yeah.
94 Michael Jackson or 80s Michael Jackson? Michael Jackson is a lot
assuming
of
I think
looks.
it's when he looked his most alienish.
Yeah.
Okay.
At this in the 90s, he was fully done up, right? At that
I
point.
think
By 94,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so they were dressed in all black. They exited a craft and approached the children. At this
Oh my
point,
God.
many of the children ran, but some, mostly older pupils, stayed and watched the approach. According to Max interviews, the creature or creatures then telepathically communicated to the children an environmental message before returning to the craft and flying away. According to Dunning, Dunning is the skeptic. This telepathic message aspect of the story was not included in Hind or Leach's reports, only Max, although Hind reported it later. Is there colluding going on between the
What is the
telepathic message about the environment?
Yeah.
Essentially,
Just like, you guys, you're killing your environment.
in Max interviews, one
They're just
fifth
fans
grader.
of Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
It's exactly what this was. In Max interviews, one fifth grader tells how he was warned, quote, about something that's going to happen and that pollution mustn't be. An 11-year-old girl told Mac, quote, I think they want people to know that we're actually making harm on this world and we mustn't get too technologed. One child said that he was told that the world would end because they are not taking care of the planet.
Oh, right.
You know what's weird to me? Why did the aliens care? They're not from Earth.
Why do they care, and why are they telling some children in a field? Why wouldn't you go to the UN?
Right.
Yeah,
the
the
UN
UN
could do anything more than a group of kids. That's
Yeah,
funny.
no, that's
That's funny.
Maybe Greta Thunberg is an alien, and they sent her
She
here.
does look like
She does look and move and behave like one.
and talk.
Yeah.
so it's a bunch of Michael Jackson. It's like multiple Michael Jacksons.
It's one or more.
Maybe it's just the Jackson
It's just
Five.
Michael Jackson.
Jackson Five.
Michael Jackson flew down in a private plane and talked to these kids
And
and
was
was like,
like,
"Be
yo."
careful with the environment."
But Michael Jackson doesn't like interacting with kids. That's so weird.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. They're a little old for him, I think, right?
6 to 12.
No, I guess that's prime time.
That's prime time.
That's prime
That's
time.
Neverland, baby.
Yeah.
So the children were
Is it
adamant-
never? It's Neverland Ranch.
Never.
That's Peter
I
Pan.
think it's Never Say Neverland.
Never ever say Neverland.
Never ever never
by
more.
Justin Bieber and
Yes.
and Michael Jackson.
Never Say Never. Great song.
Oh, great song. I like randomly saw that movie.
You saw it?
Yeah, so I
In
went
theaters?
I went to go watch another movie, didn't realize it was in the wrong theater, and then I was like in there for like 10 minutes. I was like, man, there's a lot of Justin Bieber in the beginning of this like scary
Oh, I thought you were
movie.
talking about the Michael Jackson doc. I'm like, you saw that in theaters?
No.
Private showing.
The
You gotta
Justin
see it on the
Bieber
big
thing.
screen.
Yeah, it took me a long time to realize I was in the wrong theater though.
Should I be concerned that the flash isn't on that? Do we think it's recording?
The flash on the camera?
Yeah. Usually the flash is on.
Oh,
Let me just check.
Okay.
sure.
Hold this. Talk amongst yourselves about you, Michael Jackson.
So a bunch of Michael Jacksons.
No, we're recording. I don't know why you were worried.
What does the word tickalishes mean?
They're my notes.
It's underlined.
We're back, and I'm not deleting that portion of the thing. So the children were adamant that they had not seen a plane. Hind noted that the different cultural background of the children gave rise to different interpretations of what they had seen, and they did not all believe that they had seen extraterrestrials. She noted that some of the black children thought the short little beings were tickalishes, creatures of Shona and Ndebele folklore.
Okay.
So
what
these kids were like a mix of
like
kids,
a mythological
yeah,
creature.
like a chupacabra, like an African
see, okay,
chupacabra
okay.
kind of story. These kids were from all different backgrounds because it's a private school. Some were white kids from like South African like stuff. Some people were from the capital. Some people from like were locals, a mix of black, white, all different types. Some are Asian kids, like from Indian, from
But
people.
they all agree on the general.
The kids, they all generally agree that like some of them were like they weren't aliens, but they all kind of generally agree that there was like discs, creature, big old eyes. Telepathic wasn't always that's kind of something
yeah, that's weird.
that they talked about, but they didn't telepathically talk to everybody.
Interesting.
One health nut in the front was like, oh yeah, they told us to be careful with the environment.
6 to 12 is a big range because I wouldn't trust a 6-year-old about anything.
But 12-year-olds are mischievous.
That's
12-year-olds
true.
would fuck with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's those 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
Those are the
Second
reliable
grader, honest.
sources.
All right, so
Still
here's...
have a moral compass.
Are
at
you
that
ready
point.
for some doubters?
Oh, bring it on.
So naturally, there are plenty of people who doubt the incident occurred. Among the doubters is Robert Schaefer, 60, a 32-year veteran of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry and the author of the book UFO Sightings, The Evidence.
Wait a minute. That's so funny. There's a committee. Like, we're all very skeptical. We're all going to hang out.
We don't
and-
believe it.
Yeah.
Are you the fucking chief?
Yeah,
We don't believe it. We're going to dedicate our lives to disprove it. What's wrong? Why would you
Real
do that?
negative, yeah.
I mean, I know I'm the skeptic and I'm the Debbie Downer, but like, I don't.
It's not your whole world.
It's not my whole
No.
life.
You also like read books and shit.
Yeah, like what was the name of the book? Altercation? Abduction.
Yeah, abduction. Yeah. So here's a quote from Schaefer. The bottom line is that there is no evidence, he said, of the case. We don't know what pressure may have been placed on the children to tell the stories the way they did.
Yeah.
Ooh, pressure.
And that's a recurring
That's
argument. It's
interesting.
like, were there leading questions?
Yeah.
Hind, when she talked to them,
Right.
it sounds like she may have interviewed them in small groups.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you know, kids, when they're telling a story, they're kind of just like, yeah, that's what happened. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is sort of like a parallel to Satanic Panic, right? There was all these kids that said like their teachers were performing these satanic rituals and all this. People like went to
When in
jail over
reality,
this.
the teachers were just fucking the kids.
Right. Yeah.
But the kids brought this up,
Yeah,
right?
the kids,
Yeah.
the first thing that they were in their little break, they came back, they told the teachers were like, fuck off, little bitch. Then they went home and they told, that's a direct quote. Then they went home and they told their parents, and their parents came in and they're like, what the fuck happened to these children?
Right.
And then it like really
And
snowballed
then
into a big. And Hind latched
got
in
the
there.
alert.
Oh, yeah.
Hind was like, I guess she must have like a radio or
Finally,
something.
a fucking purpose for me, other
Yeah.
than this alien person over here
So
in Zimbabwe.
Schaefer, the skeptic, said it's possible that the children who had been left alone decided to pull a prank. He conceived of a scenario in which the older kids in the group convinced the younger ones to go along with the quote sighting, which was taken to the next level when the authorities became involved. Could be one of those things, you know, just snowballed. In December 2020, Brian Dunning, you remember him, you love that guy, devoted
2020. Oh, so recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
He devoted an episode of his Skeptoid podcast. These guys are fucking
Again,
losers.
why do they-
They're fucking losers.
Yeah.
You ever seen the movie Now You See Me? About the magicians, you know?
I didn't.
I mean, Morgan Freeman plays a character who his whole life is debunking magic.
Oh my God.
You're worse than the magicians.
Yeah, you suck.
Yeah, you're
the
just
magician-
a professional downer.
Yeah, you're a bummer.
I completely agree with that. To have a passion for ruining people's passion
yeah.
is
100%.
yeah.
It's like, who hurt you?
Yeah.
Somebody like knocked
Oh,
your,
yeah.
your fucking sandcastle down when you were a kid.
I can think of some specific people right now, but I won't
Name
name
names.
them. I don't want their attention, but yeah.
Okay. They just dedicate their lives to like talking about our podcast, which I would welcome.
That'd be
That
great.
would be great. Yeah. I'm already blocked by one of them. It's fine.
Okay. So in the episode of his podcast, Skeptoid, where he talked about this incident, in it, he noted that some children in the school claimed that they had not seen anything unusual that day. He challenged the often repeated claim that as rural school children in Zimbabwe, the witnesses would have not had exposure to modern media and so would not have been familiar with the concept of UFOs and,
Really?
and alien visitors.
No.
That's one of the things backing up that the kids couldn't have made it up because they wouldn't have had that. But it's
Oh, come
1994.
on.
1994.
Yeah.
Wealthy children.
You have a fucking TV in
They
that
have
house.
a TV.
Come
They have
on.
radio. Like, you know about
You
it.
have
I was
books.
actually going to ask if there was like a recent sci-fi movie that came
Men in
out.
Black.
When did ET come out? I was
ET
gonna look
would
it
be
up.
that's 82, so that's way earlier.
Some of their drawings, like they were like, okay, is that just ET?
Yeah. do you have photos of the drawings?
Not in front of me, but
Okay,
I did
we'll
look
put
at
'em on
some
the-
of them. And there's
on
one
the IG.
of the baby girls. She ended up becoming an artist and like dedicated her life to like paintings of them.
Interesting.
well, there are a
Looks
million
like-
sci-fi movies. I was going to say the fact that they probably were exposed to all
Well,
that
it's a
stuff,
cart
or comics or
horse
whatever.
chicken egg situation. Is our modern idea of aliens based off of sightings, and that's kind of been fueled in it, or is our modern day idea of aliens just based off of popular culture and stuff?
Right.
Like Jesus wasn't a white man with a beard. We don't know that
Right.
to be a fact, but there are people that will literally die fighting to tell you that Jesus was an American man.
And he voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly. So it's tough. Like drawings and shit.
For sure.
Are
there are certain
powerful.
tropes with it. Flying saucer. Why that shape? I don't
Why
know.
that shape? It's like
Yeah.
it's one of those
Right,
things.
exactly.
And the videos and things, and you're not going to believe this. Joe Rogan had these the guys who like made a documentary about this like recently. I
Really?
saw a clip from it, and they were very excited about it. It's so tough to watch a clip like that because you're like, well, I guess it's real. I don't know.
Right.
Because you know what? And Joe Rogan, it's like he's not making fun of these guys because he's talking about it, but he's talking about it with such an open mind that it feels like he's making fun of them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Taking them seriously
He's
is
so open-minded. I'm like, are you having a goof? Are you
Yeah.
are you making fun of this guy? Because like that's how he's like. Well, he's like, yeah, they came out of the ship. It's like, okay, Joe, what's happening?
I want to know what kind of black clothing. I'm imagining like very sleek, like padded
Tom Ford
shoulders.
suits.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm thinking.
padded shoulders.
Definitely padded shoulders and like a very harsh V with like long legs. Very
I was
slender
picturing like
man.
a standard comedian, like a Louis C.K. like black T-shirt and black jeans.
a Dave Attell with a black hat.
I was thinking really not stylish.
Everything's about comedy.
Yeah.
Back to Dunning's skepticism. He also criticized the interviewing techniques of Hind and Mack. Hind interviewed the children in groups of 4 to 6 with every other child allowed to listen, and so their stories were cross-contaminated. Mack only interviewed the children 2 months after the alleged sighting, and Dunning says that Mack, a known environmentalist, prompted and suggested the telepathic communication angle, which was not present in Hind's previous report.
Yeah.
So that's a bit tough to say.
I mean, the
fact
whole
that-
environmentalist thing seems like an agenda. It's
The
like,
fact
we get
that
it.
the guy telepathically
Gore.
said in our head.
It's Al Gore.
But it's just like it's so that to me is like weird. It's like if this is a very intelligent, benevolent being. I saw you spill that water all over you.
Not on your couch though, just on me.
Oh, the couch that is already covered in chocolate stains from Kathy snacking on it. My thing is like if it's a very intelligent like alien, why would they land in this bushland talking to children for 15 minutes in their break and then never be seen again?
Yeah.
And they're like, it's very important. Your world's gonna blow up if you don't stop with this technology.
Right.
And then they go zoop 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 and they delete themselves.
You'd think
And
they
that's
would
it?
understand. They got to go talk to Putin. They
You
got
talk
to
because
talk to
Putin's gonna share secrets.
Yeah.
Are you ready for a little conclusion?
Yeah.
Sure.
I have a lot more thoughts to kind of some stray
Okay,
thoughts as
cool.
well.
Yeah, because we got time to go. Go for it.
Sorry, am I not enough?
What? No.
Am I not enough?
No, I was just. I thought you were wrapping up. I was
just
like,
get
what are we?
unrealistically offended? What's wrong?
I keep
You'll
thinking
be
about
able
what
to
we're
say
gonna
your
eat.
little piece. Okay, so on a June 2021 episode of the BBC,
This is like hot right now.
it's a hot
These are
topic.
Recent.
This is
Okay.
a hot topic.
Yeah.
Not to say that I have the finger on the pulse here, but I do.
You kind of do.
I really am. I'm tapped in because I got this from a BuzzFeed listicle. This topic idea. So, on this witness history, like this episode or whatever, the event was described as quote one of the most significant events in UFO history. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
UFologists
Wow.
continue to cite
Ufologists.
the case as providing compelling evidence of extraterrestrial visits to Earth. Several of the witnesses maintain that what was reported is true. That these kids that are now adults.
Oh, how old? So they'd be what?
Little older than us.
If
Yeah.
they were 6, so about 30 years later. I mean, they're in their 30s. They're adults.
That'd be
But
so
here's
hard.
Why I think this is what gives it credibility. Can I tell you that? So in 2014, the Mail and Guardian spoke to one witness who they called, I think they made her name Sarah, but it was made up, who said that she fears that the creatures will return and that she can sense when they are back in the atmosphere. She was like drinking a beer in a bar with these people.
Oh my god.
And she was like, can you fucking leave me alone here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
In
But they don't
2016,
sound scary. Like, why is she so afraid?
well, it's like weird.
Yeah,
I guess
they're
they're
just-
scary just because they have agendas.
Yeah,
they're just scary because they're.
She goes, the
She's like
aliens
these-
are here, and worse, they're liberal.
Yeah, she puts her finger up. Liberals are in the area.
In 2016,
The only thing worse than sticking a butt probe up you is just getting a lecture.
probe me. Don't tell me
Yeah,
about
just,
it. Yeah. They came down in 1924, and they told me I needed to get a booster shot. I don't know what's happening. So in 2016, witness Emily Trim exhibited paintings that she described as a manifestation of the messages she received from the beings that day. It's a bunch of abstract art.
Okay.
In June 2021, Barstool sports writer Za spoke in an interview about it being a pupil in Ariel that day. He recounted that he saw a bright light come down from the sky and aliens exit it. Other witnesses were interviewed for the 2020 documentary The Phenomenon, and that guy was on Joe Rogan and spoke about how the experience has affected them. And that's why I kind of talk about it, because this is what the guy talks to Joe Rogan about. It's kind of like a shared experience. It's like a
Yeah.
trauma, the way that the kids talk about it.
Right.
Some of them have been married for years and have never even told their husband or wife about it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I just want to get past it, which lets
Right.
credence to it. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
yeah.
First of all, 60 kids. It's like what will be enough for people? I understand the skeptics. There's almost always a regular argument against everything in life, but like 62 children, most of them seeing it, some of them being face to face with the things, broad daylight, all of them telling you this. What's enough?
Photo evidence.
How about a drawing?
Okay.
How about a rudimentary drawing? So a former teacher says, quote, "We met up on many occasions after that and hugged and shook our heads and said that was one of the most amazing experience of our lives." Whereas another former student says he hasn't talked about the event to anyone because they'd probably think I'm nuts, is the quote.
Yeah, that is tough.
Snippets of Mac's interviews with the children can still be found on YouTube today.
Oh, okay.
That's a quote from an article. I looked it up. I couldn't find a snippet, but I didn't look that hard. Sue me.
All right.
Listen, it's tough. It's a tough one.
It would be really hard too, because like me at 31 years old, if you asked me to recall something from when I was 6, I'd be like,
I have no memory.
I have no fucking thing.
I have no memory before the age of like 15.
And even worse,
then, 15 to 18, I got nothing. College is starting to get murky. Let me tell you that.
Yeah. But
I don't know. I'm not, because I think you must have a strong memory.
It's also
you
one
remember
of those
every time you prematurely ejaculated in your jeans.
That's true. And that was a traumatic experience. Usually those kind of dissipate.
Your brain tries to protect you from those.
I think that moving on.
He's reminded every night.
I call
when I prematurely ejaculated. Yeah, right. There's just a trigger. It's also one of those things, we probably talked about this on the podcast, but you see photos of yourself, you see videos of yourself, the memory mixes. Do I actually remember anything, or is it just
that's
video?
tough too, because
Yeah.
then it's the interviewing, and it's only 15 minutes. It's such a quick experience that the rest of your life, you do have to doubt it. Because at this point, if I'm like at 12 years old, and I'm like, I doubt memories that I had. Sometimes I'm like, was it a dream?
Yeah.
Like, is it real?
Am I remembering that? Because like sometimes me and my sister will have a memory of the same day and it's different memories. I'll be like, no, Nina was there. But she's like, no, that's like Aunt Sue was there. And like, so we don't even...
You talk to people that you had meetings with and they're like, no, we said we would do this. And it's like, that's not what we said.
Yeah, but
You
then
have
whenever
different
that
memories.
happens, I'm always like, I was tuning out. So you're probably right.
Here's the thing. I was high when you said it.
Yeah.
6 years old.
texting.
6 years old is young.
6 years old, but it's the older children that didn't run away. It's mostly the older kids. 12, that's a memory. You have memories.
You have memories.
10, 12, those are real memories.
Yeah.
doing
You're
at
like a
12.
person at that age.
Yeah, I remember stuff when I was
Can
12.
I tell you something? You lose me with the coming of age films about these like that glamorizes these middle school age kids and that like that's the rest of their life. I have no formative memories. I feel like from those years. I had no big journey where I found a body. I wish.
Yeah.
Good movie. Stand by Me.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Great film.
Amazing.
Oh, come on.
Really short, too. Like a really good short
And
movie.
I always argue that movies should be shorter.
Most movies, yes.
Yeah.
Most movies that are very long could
You
do
didn't
some
need
time.
it.
Yeah.
You didn't need it.
They were just jerking themselves off.
Well, there's this podcast that I listen to called We Hate Movies, and they always they make fun because they say longer than Star Wars. That's their barometer of it, because it's like if your movie's not building a space universe, it doesn't need to be longer than this. You know what I
Right.
mean? So if it's a regular movie and it's longer than Star Wars, you should be embarrassed because they needed to build a whole other universe.
Right.
And you were just talking about a marriage.
I was
falling
thinking about Marriage Story when you were saying that's so funny.
Is it long, Marriage Story?
Yeah.
I know, it felt long.
Felt long.
It felt like I was getting a
all right.
divorce.
Yeah, it really did. I was like, all right, we get it.
All right. Honestly, the whole thing could have just been the clip of him punching the wall. That's the movie.
Yeah,
Good
pretty
scene.
much.
I like
Yeah,
that
good
movie.
scene.
You didn't like the movie?
It's a good movie. but I
It
mean,
was good, but it's a play. It's not even a movie.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
It's a
just
play.
whatever.
So pretentious.
Yeah, I hated her haircut in it. Oh,
Awful. Although I did love that one scene where she's dancing. That was
yeah,
fun.
yeah. But the hair.
The meme is fun.
You know what I didn't like? When he sings at the end. What was that about?
I think what that was supposed to be is like she did this wicked like Hollywood version of that song that was like wicked poppy and stupid, and then he was wicked New York with it.
What was the
so
song? Where she's
I don't
like,
remember.
"Why
this.
did you
It's
do
a
that,
song.
do that, do that. Nope. That is Lady
Sondheim
Gaga's
song. It's,
from Star is Born when she's on SNL. Remember that?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That
What?
movie, clunky. That movie, first half, great. Second half, I don't know what was going on.
Can I say that I didn't know the plot of the film? I know it's been made several times. I went to that with fresh eyes.
Yeah, me too.
I watched it with my sister. I go, you see that coming? I was completely blown away. She was like, "That's the movie. That's the whole thing."
Yeah.
She was like, "You know that the whole time." I was like, "I did not."
No, I didn't. I didn't either.
Thrown.
Yeah.
I saw it with my parents, and afterwards I was like, what'd you guys think? I thought it was pretty good. And my dad just goes, I didn't understand one fucking word that guy said the entire movie.
The scenes with Bradley Cooper and Sam Evans, it's like, are you guys competing for who can mumble more?
Yeah.
It's also like, it's like, Bradley Cooper, are you being mean to Sam Evans? He seemed like he was doing a bad impression of him, like making fun of him.
Also, he's his brother that's like 40
600 years older, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's addressed. Anyway, we've completely gone off the topic here. Zimbabwe alien sightings. I believe it. And you're not going to believe that.
All right.
But I am fully on board, not just because Joe Rogan was on board, but...
That's how I make most of my decisions, don't you think? I'm not even kidding.
Yeah. That's really bad. But I will say this clip... You know, it's tough, but like, because these documentary people, it's tough to not come off like a fucking asshole.
Of course.
Being a documentary filmmaker, you are a bit of an asshole.
Oh, you're the worst.
You're
Can you imagine going on a date with someone like that?
No, you're
I
an
make
asshole.
films. Get the hell out of here.
Because it's like you don't even want to tell a fake story. Like, I need to tell this story and bring it to life. And
you're
it's
also chasing the
shut
story. Like, you don't, I mean, I guess the best documentaries are the ones where the documentarian doesn't know the ending when they start making the movie. You know what I mean? Like the ones where there's like a reveal.
The ones who go into it knowing the story, the conclusion that they want to have.
Yeah, exactly. With like their own theory.
My thing is that like everyone wants, like I feel like the person making a documentary has in their mind how they want it to end. So they're like,
they all think they're being impartial, but it's not.
No, they never are.
If you're a UFO documentarian and you're going to Africa to tell the story, but that's the argument the guy's making when he's talking to Joe Rogan in the clip. He's like, listen, and I didn't believe this one at first. You know, it took me a decade to come back to this one. You know what I mean? And I searched other UFO stories, and it's like, are you trying to tell me that you're skeptical before you talk about these UFO stories?
Yeah.
And it's like, stop it.
yeah.
But he was super believing in it. Joe Rogan made a joke about them being short, and it's like, come on. But because they were talking about, like, they actually brought up, like, why would the aliens have this important information? Why would they want to talk to a bunch of children in a field?
Exactly, yeah.
And Joe was like, well, they were all the same height as the kids, you know what I mean? So they thought they were tiny adults or whatever.
Oh, okay. I was picturing them really tall for some reason.
They were tiny little babies, and they were wearing tiny little suits.
Tiny little suits, okay, with
all
big
black.
eyes. Ooh, cute.
They were wearing head to toe all black Supreme outfits. Yeah, they were hype beasts. Yeah, they were hype beasts.
I just always have trouble when it matches so on the nose our fiction about aliens.
The drawings are comically.
Yeah, I want to see
alien
these.
drawings.
And what you're describing is, if you ever saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind, those are like the little baby aliens that come up at the end.
And they kind of just knock your knockers around.
And were they human shaped?
Little pervs, yeah.
They're just kind of little perverts.
Were they human shaped? Like they had 2 legs and 2 arms?
I think they were humanoid, which I believe is a term for it.
Okay.
But they had the big old eyes. They had big old eyes, tiny little mouths.
Okay.
Tiny little mouths.
Yeah, that's
Michael
the
Jackson.
trope. Yeah.
It is 100% the trope. But is it the trope because of the people that have seen them? Or is it the trope because...
Well, in 94, I feel like...
It had already become the trope.
Yeah.
I don't like the argument, which is frankly a little racist, that like these kids in Africa have never known anything about UFOs before, so they wouldn't have been able to make it up. It's like, no, they were rich kids
and
in 1994.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you brought up that argument, so I don't know. You're acting like we brought it up.
Max fighting the straw man in his head.
Am I a hero for downplaying that argument? Yes.
Yeah.
I am. And I'm going to change my
downplaying the argument that I made up.
My Twitter name is going to be Max Hero of Zimbabwe. Spinelli.
That's funny.
But no, I don't think these kids are not credible because unless for it to be not true, the children would have had to all collectively made it up together.
Right.
In which case, this is a wonderful story about 6 to 12-year-olds working together in harmony.
Or it's that bullying story. Or it's like the older kids being like, oh, yeah.
Well, that's mean.
But so was Satanic Panic. That's the exact same thing. There was all these kids that made up the same exact story, same exact visions and all this stuff, and all of it was not true. So it's like an exact parallel. That can happen, is what I'm saying. It's not unreasonable to think that these 60 kids kind of got together and... Like, think about how, like, rumors start when you're that age, you know, then you just believe things to be true. And you're like, oh, so-and-so saw this. And then all of a sudden you saw it. But like, it's just
well, it also comes
spirals.
back to it's not a lie if you believe it.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm skeptical about this one. I think no, but I believe it. I'm more on board with it than I am with some of the other UFO ones we have, just because of the numbers. I mean, that's a lot of people.
And it's broad daylight.
In broad daylight, yeah.
See, I kind of believe it less because it's kids though, and like other ones we've brought up have been adults.
True.
So,
No.
But adults are way more malicious than children.
That's true, and they're weird.
If it was high school kids, I would actually. Children are weird, or
No,
adults?
adults.
Adults are freaks.
Especially the ones that see aliens. They're always like living in fucking back
Younger
countries
kids
and shit.
are more pure and harder to lie altogether.
True.
I would imagine, was the Satanic Panic a lot of high school kids? Because then I believe you. Really? It was children?
Mm-hmm. Children. They said, it was like, you look it up. It's dark.
I don't want to.
It's like a long... We could do like a whole fucking podcast
Here's
on that.
the takeaway. No matter what, kids are fucking weird, though.
Yeah.
I think they saw something.
Yeah.
Oh, what a diplomatic response.
No. You know what I mean? I don't think... No, because we are talking about the idea of like them conspiring to come up with... I think they saw something. There might be a logical explanation for it that's not UFOs.
But then they were fed all these leading questions that got them to think that
Yeah,
now it's a
I do.
UFO. You
It
see what I
is
mean?
tough when you talk about Hind and Mac, where they come in and you can't even really fault those people because they have dedicated their lives to this. They're excited about a possible sighting, so they're like, "Did you think anything of it?" And maybe they had big rugby eyes.
Yeah.
But those people, I will say the one thing, and I saw this in a couple of different articles, was that Hind had them draw pictures separately, and the pictures all looked alike.
Okay.
That's interesting.
The
That is
comically
interesting.
photo accurate pictures to our understanding of what a typical alien looks like.
Yeah.
They all drew separately, and they all kind of looked very similar.
I want it to be true just because it's fun. And also,
I like the idea. I like the idea of nice aliens. Can I say that?
Trying to help us out.
Yeah, God forbid. They're just, and I believe the idea of aliens just trying their best to kind of like throw us a breadcrumb, and then humans are just fucking assholes.
Oh yeah.
And we're just like, no.
But we're like, we need our oil.
Yeah.
But we're Exxon Mobil.
I don't even consider them nice though, because they're not like offering to help in any way. They're just like,
They're offering to help a little bit.
how?
I don't. Why are you? I'm not an alien.
No, but you know what I mean. They're not like, oh, we'll help clean up the oil.
We'll take all this fucking.
We'll give
bullshit.
you natural resources to use instead of the oil.
Well,
They're
here's
just like,
the thing: is we don't know the ones that aren't being reported on.
What do you mean?
Do you think aliens have gone to higher powers in society, and those just haven't been released?
Oh yeah, maybe.
I think that's possible. Entirely possible.
what do you mean higher powers?
They've gone to government.
They've gone
officials.
to
They've gone-
Joseph Biden,
they've
and he
gone to
can't remember.
Joseph Biden,
So it's going
and they didn't realize that that man's dead. He's a ghost.
Yeah.
So he can't really do much because he's not corporeal. He can't actually touch things.
Okay.
So that's tough.
I
They
don't
went to
think
Kamala, and she went, and just kind of laughed in their face.
Yeah, and then so they carried on. They went to Putin.
They went to Putin,
Yeah.
and Putin probably killed them. He probably had to kill them.
He had them killed.
He probably hanged them in the town square.
Yeah.
I still think my opinion is that aliens exist. I just don't buy that they came to Earth.
I think that they have. Why would you think they existed and they haven't come? Just because we haven't
the
been there?
universe is huge.
Yeah.
Why is our understanding also, we assume that aliens are so far advanced? Like, we can't go dicking anywhere.
That's true.
So they probably just are also on their Earth as being like, I hope they're just not like fucking weird. And then we come in there and we're like, you guys like eating ass here?
Yeah, yeah.
That would be your
That's
opening
our
line.
first. That's my opening question.
Not even hello. Yeah.
I don't even like eating
I
ass. I'm
hop
just
off
like, you
the
like
ship.
guys like
I
eating
guys, you
ass?
guys eat ass? And they go, nah. I'm like, yeah, kindred spirit, brah. Not a lot of us left.
You just agree with whatever they say. If they say no, you're like, yeah, totally.
Yeah. We don't eat it. We suck it. I'm like, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Just being agreeable.
I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one. Real mystery.
Oh, yeah.
I like stories from like the 90s and shit because it's like, it's tough to just be like, it's a different time. It's
Right.
not.
No.
It's modern history. And the people that did it, they're like middle aged now, not even. They're like in their 30s.
They're like 37.
They're barely
or whatever.
much younger than you guys. And, but they're like still talking about it with vivid recollection, which is cool.
It's
Yeah.
quite the story. Same year as OJ. So probably everyone was focusing on OJ. They didn't even care about the aliens.
I do think also, if it was a conspiracy betwixt the children, wouldn't one of them by now been like, those fuckers made it
Right,
up.
exactly. Joseph Campbell said to go fucking
Yes.
blah, blah, blah.
The very common name, Joseph Campbell of Zimbabwe.
There's probably so many Joseph Campbells in
Zimbabwe.
Rewa,
Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Any parting thoughts?
Nah.
We'll put some drawings up online. You guys can tell us.
It's a good story. I like this story.
Great story.
I believe them just because it's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
I want to believe them because I don't like the people who are anti.
I don't like the people that dedicated it. I want to spite the spiders.
Yeah, let's spite them.
Yeah.
Suck it.
All right. We were had, especially you, Dunnigan.
Dunnigan. Yes.
Bye.
Wait, was it Dunnigan?
It was Dunnigan, yeah.
Yeah, it was Dunnigan.
All right, bye.
Bye, Dunnigan.